Green flag waved at the back. Marshall's happy that the order is correct. And away they go. And Connaughts broken. I hear no, it just faltered. Away. It just faltered. But it's the bright green Cooper Bristol, which is Will Nuttall on the inside. But it's Eddie Maguire, the Irishman, who leads in car 75 round the outside. In this wheel to wheel, the two Cooper Bristols out front. And it's Maguire who prevails coming out of Madrick Corner. Third is the blue Gordini of Valvekins. Chris Phillips is in there as well. Guy Plant, I think that maybe, or is it Wenman? No, Wenman in the green metallic Cooper Bristol.
Joe Venables in the HWM battling with the Gordini.
Well, the first two have made a break already at the kink before St Mary's, and it's our pole man in second, but that great start by Eddie Maguire, duking it out around the outside. Valvekins holding on to third place as they drop into the dip, but it's the Cooper Bristols really dicing way at the front. Eddie Maguire has the bragging rights for now. Quick in, was he a bit deep into the corner there? Will we have a fight back from Will Nuttall in the bright green number 4? Great little racing behind, but those first two Cooper Bristols already pulling clear.
Yes, the rest ganging up on the HWM of Jarrah Venables. He's in Michael Harting's car, and I can see he's been attacked by Wenman and Phillips in their Cooper Bristols, and Wenman streaks ahead of the HWM down the Lavant Straight, through the kink, down towards Woodcote Corner for the first time. But it's Eddie Maguire in 75, Will Nuttall hanging in there in a borrowed Cooper Bristol from Steve Russell's stable, I think.
Big ATM Maserati gets inside.
That's the ex-Whitney Straight and McAlpine car. The two Cooper Bristols come through absolutely together, locked together.
And Michael Milligan in 31, atoning for his terrible start in the Connaught. He's starting to make up ground and gain places, but those Cooper Bristols putting clear. Trying to go up the inside line at Madrick. Has he made it stick? Yes, Will Nuttall, great move. He deposes Eddie Maguire for the lead. Great move there up the inside at Madrick. It takes a brave person to carry as much speed as that into the corner, but he made it stick. In fact, perhaps Maguire put a little too much speed into the corner.
Yeah, someone's looking a little bit smoky back behind, but these two Cooper Bristols pulling away from the rest, headed by the Belgian Valvekins with his French Gordini. Wenman Venables Phillips Fiddler is the top ERA in 10th place. Sorry, in 7th place, car 10, the red car. AJM1 car built by Tony Merrick out of period from Period Parts. 23 Barry Wood, 12 Terry Crabb in the blue ERA 12C, and 7 John Ewer are the next ones through.
Well, David Wenman continues to push Mark Valvekins. Gordini, Valvekins looking to his left, to his right, but right in behind him, though, a few car lengths back, is number 2, which is David Wenman. But good legs the Gordini has down the Lavant Straight. Maybe it was good entry speed, but closing up under braking. Wenman closes in. Venables in the HWM in 5th place, trying to hold off number 33, which is Chris Phillips in another Cooper Bristol. Once in front, it does appear that Will Nuttall is able to pull clear. He was only a third of a second faster than Maguire in practice yesterday, but on that lap alone, what's his advantage? Well, he lapped
1.1 seconds.
Yeah, well spotted, Marcus.
It's a little bit smoky, Will Nuttall's, maybe well filled with oil, and David Wenman, slight grassy moment at Madrick.
And Fiddler has Crabb with him in that battle to be top of the ERA group. Fiddler in 10, Crabb in the blue car, number 12. And in fact, Terry Crabb has got past Ben Fiddler. Terry Crabb now ahead, and behind them is Rob Newell. Car that was raced at Goodwood in the 50s and the 60s, that big Maserati.
Well, David Wenman a lap ago was really, really close to the back of Mark Valvekins, but now you can see the blue Gordini really with a lot of track between himself and the Cooper Bristol that's chasing. A much closer battle is the one behind them, and Chris Phillips has moved ahead of Jarrah Venables, so the yellow nose on the Cooper Bristol now ahead of the HWM, the metallic green HWM, down to 6th place.
Will Nuttall's fastest lap so far, the only flying lap, 1:33.417, pretty much a second outside his own pole time yesterday.
I think David Wenman had a bit of grassy moment at Madrick, which dropped him back, so maybe he'll catch back up to the Gordini.
OK, let's watch and see, because he certainly lost a lot of ground in the first half of the lap before they came down to my commentary position at St Mary's.
1:32.059. And that is 4/10 under his pole time of yesterday. Valvekins now lonely third. Wenman is in 4th place. Phillips is 5th. Where's Venables gone?
Venables is falling back. He's just lost another place to
Barry Wood.
Venables coming into the pits.
The Alta engine in the HWM, always a bit fragile. There's the power of the big 8cm Maserati, taking it past the 2 litres of ERA.
Great rear shots as the cars work their way around the early part of the lap, and we can see the setting sun cleverly caught by the cameras. It's not quite setting, but it's going down behind the trees. Jared Venables in the pit lane.
There
frustration.
Dad Phil, the scrutineer, on the pit counter as well.
Car belongs to Michael Harting, who runs HWM at Hersham in Surrey. Is Maguire slowing down?
He was on the grass coming out of Lavender. I'm not so sure he would be slowing down.
Slowing down, but not enough.
Involuntarily.
Mark Valvekins is having a very, very quiet race because there's nothing that David Wenman in the background can do about him. Now, can anyone do anything about Wenman? Is that Phillips coming in behind in number 33? No, yes it is. That's Chris Phillips in 5th place. Catching up, he was a bit slower last time around, but he did seem to be running a little bit better there. So maybe 4th isn't nailed down, but 1st place, it's only a 10-minute race, is looking very good indeed for the driver who started from pole, Will Nuttall. He didn't get the best of starts, and he was outpaced to the first corner by Eddie Maguire.
Nearly 6 seconds the advantage now.
So you can see the lowering sun behind the trees as you go, as our race leader Will Nuttall goes through the Madgewicks and heads off down towards Fordwater. Eddie Maguire giving chase, but he's losing out by a second and a bit every lap.
See how tall the Bristol engine is, with the sump almost scraping the ground.
And there's Rob Newell in the Maserati, hurtling past Terry Crabb in a straight line.
So taken 2 ERAs in 2 laps.
John Ewers in the 7 car. He's in 10th place.
Well, just looking at the gap between 1st and 2nd, Will Nuttall leading Eddie Maguire by just under 6 seconds, and Eddie Maguire doing his absolutely all that he can. There he's on the large screens in the dark Cooper Bristol, but the much lighter green Cooper Bristol there, number 4 being driven very, very positively by smoking away a little bit there as he comes down towards the chicane.
Yeah,
but
just breathing a little heavily, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's only a 10-minute race, so I think he can afford to lose a little bit of juice out of the back. Fastest lap so last time around, 1 minute 32.0. No, the one before, 1 minute 32.05. Last lap there, 1 minute 33.04.
2 minutes to go, so this lap and then one more.
7.5 seconds between 1st and 2nd. It's become a well-spaced race up front, hasn't it? Because Valvekins in the 17 car is a lonely 3rd. This is the real battle, though. The 2 ERAs chasing Robert Newell, who was a Jaguar XK120 ace at one point.
But he passed them.
Formula Ford as well. Yeah, he's passed them gradually over the last couple of laps.
But they're back onto his tail, so
yeah,
you pass, but you're not through. But Frost
going really well.
Yeah,
Simon Frost, who races 500cc Formula 3 cars normally. This Cooper Bristol, a real education for him.
Yeah, he's really closed up. What was his lap compared to theirs last time around? Oh, yeah, he took 2 seconds off a couple of the ERAs ahead of him, so scope for more places to be gained, but the clock is counting down.
Newell might have taken a toll on his brakes a bit to get past the 2 ERAs.
Belch of flame from the exhaust of the big Maserati. Rob Newell, whose father raced at Brooklands pre-war. Not Brooklands, Donington pre-war.
I think, well, it'll be one more lap after this.
Yeah, and it's a classic strap, yeah, because it'll be with half a minute to go when still on the clock, when our race leader Will Nuttall comes up to take the start of his final lap. Yep. The checkered flag coming out in half a minute.
And there's traffic ahead in the form of James Willis in the South African PSMG and Luke Brantz with the big 4.5-litre Turbo Largo. Here's this tussle on screen, though, and it's Rob Newell in the ex-Whitney Straight Maserati, leading the 2 ERAs. Terry Crabb in the blue one, R12C, and Ben Fiddler in AJM1. And behind them, clinging on really well, Simon Frost in the Wilton family's Cooper Bristol.
Well, the laps are coming down for Simon Frost. He's about to start his final lap of the race, and he's really got to make his move. I'm sure the handling of the Cooper Bristol that much better, and maybe under braking he's stronger too, but under acceleration he can't live with the ERAs, and he can't live with the Maserati there, with Rob Newell on board.
Yes, that's right. Parnell Cup, the Parnell MG is in the race, and that's the car driven by John Ewer, car that competed in one of the pre-war Grand Prix at Donington.
So it looks as though it's going to be victory for Will Nuttall. He comes down to Woodcote for the final time. You can see the low light of the sun hitting the tyre, the belting in front of the tyre wall there, telling us it's really getting towards late in the afternoon. He just has to keep number 14 ERA with Julian Wilton out of his passage, which he does very well indeed, goes around it, and the checkered flag will be unfurled. Cooper Bristol takes victory, and he was 8 seconds clear at the start of the last lap. He's backed off a bit, but a good win.
He's backed off, so let Julian Wilton have an extra lap, I think. Simple as that. Didn't seem to want to get involved in that. In his last lap, Eddie Maguire did his personal best at 1:33.
Now, can Newell hold off the ERA attack?
Well, I think he can, because they've had about 2 laps right on his tail. He got past them, and I thought he was going to pull away, but I think whoever suggested brakes might be getting a bit short.
Third is Valvekens in the Gordini. 4th and 5th, the Cooper Bristols of Wenman and Phillips, nose to tail across the line. About half a second between them, but not to worry. And then Barry Wood, father of Tony Wood, we saw yesterday in the GT40 race. And it's Newell, Crabb, the best of the ERAs, followed by Fiddler, and Frost at the back of that quartet.